This was the week where, in news from, oh my God, is this real life? A man from Cumberland, Maryland, allegedly shot and killed his brother and his brother's wife because his brother was a pharmacist administering the COVID-19 vaccine, and he was convinced that the vaccine is actually killing people instead of doing what it's actually doing, which is saving lives. So this just happened, and let's see. I want to go to, Jeffrey Burnham told his mother, this is the suspect, told his mother that he had to confront his older brother, Brian Robinette, because he was poisoning people by administering the COVID-19 vaccine, telling his mother, quote, Brian knows something, according to the new charging documents filed against Burnham. According to the documents, Evelyn Burnham, 83, called the Cumberland Police Department because of her son's mental stability after he made statements about the FBI being after them both. She told the police in one call that her son lived with her and kept a security system in his bedroom at their home, police wrote in documents. So the FBI was aware that this guy was unstable. Now, look, I'm not saying give more power to the FBI, but it's always so upsetting when we realize that someone had alerted authorities when somebody's unstable and they were not able to prevent that person from then going and shooting his brother and his brother's wife in their home, and additionally killing a friend of his mother. Frightening. But the guy was like clearly convinced of this. He was arrested on October 1st at the Billy Motel and Bar in Davis, West Virginia, after flagging down a firefighter and told him that he had, quote, been forced to kill 3 people.
Oh my God.
And this is in addition to him being, I think he was at a coffee shop or something and said, hey, you're going to see my name on TV. I'm going to be famous, etc. I mean, straight up delusional stuff. This is my thing with this story. This is a story that a lot of news outlets won't cover. Why? Because it's salacious, it's sad, it's tragic. And, it's kind of like, well, a mentally ill man was mentally ill and blah. That's bullshit. This is a story about a guy who was able to get a gun despite his condition, number one. And number two, probably has been ingesting copious amounts of propaganda and lies from people like Dan Bongino and Ben Shapiro on Facebook, to say nothing of Sean Hannity or Tucker Carlson or any of the folks who've been fomenting misinformation around the vaccine. So if you take in enough of that, it will straight up drive you crazy. And if you're already unstable, this is what happens. I mean, I'm like, I feel like we have to cover these stories. We have to talk about this because literally nobody else does. It's just like, imagine if this had happened from a left winger. If somebody was like, every time a police officer is killed, or every time there's some sort of, alleged violence against somebody from the right, you know what I mean? I don't want to make this partisan, but essentially that, where it's like a politically motivated killing. The right has a field day with it. They don't let it go. They make sure we know these people's names. Remember the young woman who was supposedly killed by an undocumented immigrant on the pier in San Francisco, where a man found a gun, picked it up, and it straight up went off in his hand. The right-wing media made that a story for years and made it the backbone of their anti-immigrant, push because of this one instance. Anyway, so I don't know, Sammy, thoughts on this story?
Yeah, great story to make funny. It's a very serious story, very, very sad. I will say anybody staying at the Billy Motel probably is a murderer. Could have told you that. It's really sad. And yet another mental health case, turned murderer, and I think it is interesting that, I read the story and it said he was charged with second-degree murder. And I'm assuming that's because of the mental health. Because you understand, like first degree is where you like premeditate and plan the murder. Second degree is like, oops, just killed these people, right? So is it a second degree murder? I mean, it sounds more like he had been planning this for a while.
Yeah, it definitely sounds like first degree, but yeah, maybe because of his mental state, it's second degree murder. I mean, and this is the thing with, like, it's just awful because you feel like he is a victim himself.
Right.
I mean, and this is like we've talked about other really dark stories like this, like the QAnon dad who killed his young children because he thought they were the devil.
Right.
Like this is ostensibly a cult that believes that, you know, children are to be protected and the babies, and Democrats are killing and hurting children, but yet he had to kill his children in order to save them. I mean, so it's just like one side of the equation here is supporting this kind of delusion. That's how easy it is. That's
Right.
what a slippery slope this anti-vax stuff is.
Right. It just highlights the you know the problem that we have of this politicization of the vaccine. You know, the extent to which it's divided us so much, which now you have a situation where this could happen, and that's a horrible thing. You know, to say that vaccines are killing people when every data set shows the opposite of that. So,
Mhm.
in order to push that big of a lie, there are culpable people here who've been spreading it, and whoever they are, they should know that they're causing stuff like this.
What's going on, Frantifa? If you haven't already, subscribe to this channel right now. Hit that button. And also, you can become a patron and support the show every single week. Get access to bonus episodes and exclusive merchandise. Patreon.com/bitchuation room. Do it.